I guess the bandwidth must be right because you've reached the right spot. This is Tuesday Talks, a place where we talk about art, everything about art, the past, the present, and the future. Today, we have with us somebody who's been with in the art biz for like the longest time. She comes from a prominent family of businessmen and art collectors, especially the Luxor Group. Have you heard about it? And she is also the director and owner of a prominent gallery. It's called Arushi Arts with branches
Hi.
New Delhi and Los Angeles. Have you guessed her
Yeah.
now? Well, we welcome the director, Payal Kapoor. Hi, Payal.
Thank you.
How are you?
Hi. Thank you. Thank you for introducing me. Thank you so much.
How are you? How have you been?
I'm okay. Just been busy with work and busy with shows. And this is our 25th year of the gallery. Our Arushi Arts is celebrating 25 years this year. So it's been a long journey.
Oh my God, it must be really amazing and it must be really taxing. I do not even know how you do it though. So, Payal, for the viewers who might not be familiar with Arushi Arts, what is Arushi Arts? Why did you found it? When was it established? What are the ethos and the principles and the unique selling points about Arushi Arts?
So basically, Arushi Arts started with an idea because I came from a family, I come from a very prominent business family.
Yes.
And my father was a very important collector. He used to collect a lot of works, and I worked with him for 12 years, and then after that I started Arushi Art simply because I think that was the nearest way to be near art, because I had become a mother at that point also in 1996. And 1993 we started our gallery, but 96 is when actually things started moving. Arushi is the name of my,
Yeah.
it's called the first ray of sunlight. So it is basically after my mom's name.
Ah,
So we thought that we will start a gallery which would promote Indian contemporary art. At that time, it was not very few women were really in the art world business. Okay. Art was not a business. People said you really can't make money in art. So, I went in because I'm a qualified textile designer, and I'm also learned under Rameshwar Bhuttaji for a little while in Triveni. So I paint a little bit, not too much, but whatever. And then Arushi Arts idea was born because I said that is the nearest way I could be to art. And I said, it's time to promote Indian art, because I believe in Indian art right from its inception. And then we started the first show, which was a Jaya Veetan show, a lady who was very popular in those days from Rajasthan. It was a sold out show. And that's where the journey started and began.
my God.
And then 250 shows down now and going on. We
250.
are going to be celebrating our 25 years by having a show called Harvest, which was actually, that time there was this top art critic who joined with me and who I consider my brother and my mentor, Suneet Chopra, late art critic Suneet Chopra, who's regarded as the top five critics of India, actually, if you go back on modern India. And Suneet and I started a show called Harvest, which is, I think, an iconic show because it's India's largest show, which shows trends in Indian contemporary art and Indian modern art, actually. I should not say contemporary, it is Indian modern art. Because Sunit told me it's always Indian modern art and it's just one type of art.
So one can say that you are a pioneer and trailblazer in the field of contemporary and Indian modern art.
Correct, correct. Indian starts with basically the Jamini Roy, and not before that. Like, it's more about what happened from Jamini Roy, Rabindranath Tagore to Hussain, the progressives, and today. And so it is very relevant, and it is a term which puts in even whatever's happening in contemporary art as well as tribal art, or living, as we call it, living traditions. So basically, it's all about good art by the end of it. That's what it is.
I think all of us can agree to that fact. Art should be enjoyable, and only then can the audience also sort of, immerse themselves into it. Anyways, So when I introduced you, I did say and I did mention that you had galleries in Los Angeles, which is in America, and one in New Delhi, which is in India. Payal, I want to ask you something. What is the difference between, or how do you think the Western audiences perceive Indian vernacular or the Indian contemporary or modern art versus how the Indians themselves see it?
Okay. So in India, what we call as contemporary is really, I think, and I mean, for me at least, I feel there are very few artists who are actually talking about our traditions and cultures and making it contemporary. For
Mhm.
me, contemporary Indian art is something which takes the roots of Indian culture and traditions and makes it modern as a language. Um, I feel a lot of the Indian artists here now are doing a lot of things related to what I'm talking about. But about 15 years back, or maybe 10 years back, a lot of them actually even now ape the West, which is a sad part because we have our own language, we are our own country, we have our own traditions, we have our own festivals, we have our own people, so we should be talking about our people, like black American art or colored art is also talks about their culture. Chinese art talks about their culture. So we have to now bring the Indian ethos in the modern city life that we are living, or in the modern life we are living, wherever we may be, whether it's a village or a city or anywhere.
So you
And
mean
that's why my daughter, I've started showing works. I've shown in Paris, I've shown in London, I've shown in Singapore, I've shown now in Los Angeles. Now people over there are starting to look at Indian art and saying, what is it all about? It's still a struggle, but I think we are getting there. There's much, much more awareness than what we had many years back. And my daughter Arushi takes care of it, and my daughter Aisha, she's coming also on board right now. She's just graduating and coming in.
I like that. That's honestly good to know. So, one of the questions that I'd like to also pose is, so when you said regions, when you say identity, so is contemporary art sort of, influenced by or sort of, powered by the tribal art or the folk art that we have, just but with contemporary topics or contemporary issues?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that goes without saying. Our traditional art, our classic art, our the Gandharas, from the Gandhara to the Harappan period to today to the tribal artists, they have all influenced contemporary art, as we call it, contemporary Indian art. I like to again put the term as modern art because for me, I don't know what is contemporary. Contemporary is what we are living and prevalent to today's times. So if you're taking an inference from something in the past, it is deriving from what we've got as a culture and a tradition from the past. So this is happening right now, and that is very important for any young Indian artist to keep in mind when they're doing this.
Yes, I think fair enough. Okay, Arushi. Okay, Payal. I get so confused. So, Payal, you have also curated multiple shows yourself. I just want to
Yeah.
know whether, when you curate a show, whether there's like a particular theme or a particular color, for example, the exhibition blue that you did,
Yeah.
or what is, or is it like a particular element or a motif that you look for when you
You
come?
know, we've done many shows. Like even Harvest has had themes in the middle. We did, when Amitabh Bachchan came, we did art and poetry because it was inspired by poetry. Then we did art and cinema. That's been another very iconic show which we did and was a super success. We've done shows on color. There are so many themes. But you know what I like to do? Like I'd done a theme called red. Then I did a theme called blue because now I'm like working towards a show called white, and hopefully there should be a black. I don't know when, but it'll happen. What I feel is that if you give a curation, it should have a very clear thought of mind, right? So Harvest usually is a group show what we do, but now we sometimes in the middle, Suneet and I, Suneet, it was Suneet's baby with me, Suneet Chopra, and we said let's give artists food for thought. If they get food for thought, they'll think more and it'll become a thinking show. Please understand. There is a difference between group shows, solo shows, and, curated shows. So this is where I come from. This is where what is my thinking, and it is my experience in the art world.
So, okay, so basically you are Skittles. Audiences can taste the rainbows with Arushi Arts.
We keep looking at, we want to keep giving food for thought to the audiences to remember what we've done in the past. And there have been many interesting shows which we've done, including MF Hussein's show where we launched the Indian pen of Parker, which was my dad. He was my dad's brand ambassador. And we did this Kajigamini pen, which was the Parker first pen, which was launched with Madhuri's etching of the Pandarpur ki lady. And we did a big show on Gajgamani also. That was interesting also. So we've had our fair share of amazing shows that we've done, and I'm so grateful to God to keep me in this business which I love with passion, yet makes the money. Hopefully,
Can I ask you
in
about
the beginning it was so difficult. If we sold that one painting, I'm just telling you some anecdotes. When we started, if we used to sell that one painting a month, we would be like, thank God. How does one pay the salaries? Today, where art has become an investment,
yeah.
it's an asset class now. And if you buy the right artist, I think you're putting your money in something which is important.
I mean, I totally get that. A few months ago, India Art Fair had happened, and along with it, I remember Alka Pandey wrote a piece on a major platform. I cannot remember which one, but she talked about how, despite it being India Art Fair, there was rarely, paintings or sculptures or art forms which had actually come from like the Indian soil in terms of tradition or the roots. So it is, of course, refreshing to see your mission and how you have been actually promoting the Indian vernacular throughout the world.
Well, I started Artix Art Fair, which is a small India's first ever hotel art fair, where we have two more partners. There's Malvika Podar and Setu Vaidyanathan, who are also collectors. Okay, so it's very interesting. The fair is started for collectors, by the collectors, for the collectors, for the artists, where artists can apply directly, and we look at them, and when we promote that on that platform, this has also, other than that, we are counting traditional weaves, traditional as part of art, because I think it's a very much part of art. So art is a very derivative term, it is really, really large. And also nowadays, there's no boundary. So there should be an interaction between global and Indian artists. And we've done that in Artix. We've shown American artists. I work very actively with many artists from Africa, America, France. So I love the whole idea of the interaction. We've just shown an artist from who's Buddhist Tibetan American. So the globalization of art is just amazing, and it never seeks to surprise.
I would have, following up, I would want to know, apart from India, which is one of the regions in the world which you find to be really rich in art history or just, mediums or just art in general. As you said, you have worked with the African artists and the American artists and the European as well. So which of the regions would you find to be the best sort of like a progenitor of in the art world?
I think Africa is very, very interesting at this moment. I'm really liking what I'm seeing. I think there's some very interesting art coming from Venezuela, Brazil.
Yeah.
Brazil has got some great artists coming out. I think Sao Paulo is like showing some very, very interesting artists. It's already shown very interesting, important artists. But this one's, I mean, there's some good work coming out from there. Japan has some very interesting artists with their own culture and traditions. Nepal, I think Nepal has got some very cool, interesting works happening right now. So, basically, regions are many, but where you find the right artist, which fits the ethos of the country that you're showing it in.
So it
And I think
depends
India
on
is
the
the best. I love Indian art.
I think we
It's my
must
favorite.
agree to that.
East or West, India is the best.
I mean, accurate. That no lies
भाई
there.
ट्रू ब्लू इंडियन हैं हम तो ट्रू ब्लू इंडियन है हाँ
Okay. As you said about contemporary art, like there needs to be an intersection of, the current along with the roots that we have had. And recently we have seen a
and
rise
that is
in
what is, sorry to interrupt you, but that is what is appreciated abroad. things which are rooted with culture and tradition, has a story to tell, but it's an Indian story to tell, not what is Western. Western is good, great to look at it, fabulous, but there should be a dialogue,
Yes.
that's very important.
So my question is whether if an artist, an Indian artist, exhibits whether in India or abroad, or so does he talks about his experience weaved through the Indian, traditions, or whether it's sort of like a collective conscious that he narrates to the public?
I think it's both actually, because an artist's journey
Mhm.
is one of the most fascinating journeys, I think, and
Mhm.
that we can see, whether it's in the works of M.F. Hussain, whether it's in the work of Raza,
Mhm.
how they started, how they looked at it, how their themes grew.
Mhm.
I mean, there's Sanjay Bhattacharya who's had his own themes. I mean, there's Subodh Gupta who talks about the Bartans, which is very true to him because it is really his earthy roots. Whether it's I mean, whether we are talking about iconography or we are talking about contemporary language, what I see with the artists that when I want to pick them up is how true and honest are them for their experience as well as to the traditions. It's very important to be globally connected. Yes, global consciousness is very important because, see, art, that's what I'm trying to say, that there is no boundary in art today. You can be an American artist taking to a Buddhist, taking inspiration from Buddhism, from China, from Venezuela, but you've got to have a language of your own. That is what I feel is very important, and this is where I think a good artist will grow. Good. You can take inspiration. That's allowed.
True.
Every artist, all young artists have the right to take inspiration because we are human beings. And if we don't take inspiration from the other person, as it happens, whether it's in the music field, whether it's in dance, all greats should be admired, should be inspired. They should be inspiring, not aped
Yeah.
at. That's what the difference is. And every artist must have their own style to talk about. Satish Gupta has his own style to talk about. He may talk about religion, but or he talks about his sculptures, but they are modern in its feeling, and he has an ethos to it because he is Buddhist by nature, for example. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, Arushi, we have seen a rise in digital art and art created by AI. For example, the current Ghibli
NFTs you're
trend.
talking about.
Yes. Also NFTs, but I was talking about the current Ghibli trend, which has just taken the internet and the world by storm. So my question is, what is your take on digital art or art which has been created by, let's say, ChatGPT or any other AI model? And
I like it. I'm not saying that I don't like it, but as a person, my preference would be something where it's been created and it's not computerized. For me, that is a kind of puts me off a bit, to be honest. I'm not so. I mean, as a collector, as a gallery, um, I love it. Trends come, trends go. It's brilliant. I love seeing it because it's beautiful. In fact, some of the videos that are being made and all are very, very creative, beautiful, but not necessarily for me. That's what I say. I
so,
like things which are created, which are earthy, which are done by their own. What we are paying for is the creativity of the person, right? And if it's AI making it, I don't know whether, but I really want to. Does that suffice compared to an original piece of art? No, I don't think so.
okay.
Originals are originals forever.
And
Yeah.
what is your whole take on NFTs and the crypto?
It's here to stay. Okay, it's here to stay, and there are some very interesting works being done there. To be honest, when you look at the field and when you start exploring it, it's there, and we have to welcome this, make it a part of the world. It's very popular in America. I don't know how popular it is to in India, where making by the hands, creating by the hands, has always been part of our tradition. Whether you see, again, I go back. My inference goes back to Harappan civilizations, Gandhara. It's all done by hand, and India is a country where we are very adept with our hands. We don't need computers to do things. Okay, we do need it for a certain point of view, but not. It's, I think, handmade. beautiful things are made in India all the time. And I also appreciate that when I see it abroad, when with the artists that I work with. I'm not, I love NFTs, but just to appreciate. And I think I'm a little old school in that.
I mean, there's no wrong. Even I like
There's
something.
no wrong. There's no wrong. There's
Yes.
no wrong. Younger generations can enjoy this because it's a great medium to work with AI and NFTs, and very interesting because it's there are some really interesting things happening in Russia. I've seen people working in you know China. I've seen people working in all kinds of places where there's NFT videos are just brilliant. The pictures are brilliant. In fact, I have a collection of them, but I've just kept them because for me it was interesting. I looked at it. It was a new medium. Always buy as a collector. I'm not only a gallerist, I'm also a family of collectors. So interesting, but I don't think it's what I would look for my gallery. I'm not saying no. Never say never. If you like somebody and comes out with a brilliant piece of art, you don't know. You don't know where it takes you.
No, I do think that, as you said, of course, India is a country where people use their
I'm
hands.
talking about the Indian consumer. I don't know. Maybe there's a young set of consumers who love clients, who like to art collectors or lovers who like NFTs. I'm sure young people can buy them because they're still more affordable, right? But so are young Indian talented artists over here. They're very affordable, yeah. Really affordable. My daughter, in fact, showed some young, lovely artists in San Francisco, and it was lovely and great response to see young artists, just there. I mean, and the schools are coming out with some great artists, I must say.
Is that an MF% I see behind you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of my own collection, my
Oh my
personal
God, it
collection
is
works.
beautiful.
I was like a teenager, well, not even a teenager. I was like in my 20s when I came to know him. And what an experience. What a man.
Can you share like a couple of anecdotes with us, if at
Oh,
all?
he was amazing. He just felt like, he loved art. He was a man of the ground. He
Mhm.
was an earthy artist. There are very few like that in India. I think one of those very privileged artists who, started from literally being a signboard painter to reaching those heights which he's done. You know that the results are crazy nowadays.
So,
But what he did was that he used to look at life very closely and then make a series. So, Aka, 1 second. Hello, sorry.
it's fine.
Yeah, please edit that part. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure.
And so he used to always say, art is to be loved. Art is to be, art has to be with a passion. Art has to appeal to a lot of people, and that was his ability. He would sit sometimes on a chai shop and go and paint over there, and still at that same time, would go and sit in the Met Museum or in the top museums in London, and hobnob with the top celebrities of that time, of his time, and his contemporary times. And they would be like whining and dining him, and there he would be like, "Acha, chalo, lemon chai peene chale, chalo, aa jao." बैठते हैं ढाबे पे बैठ के, and then suddenly painting over there. And that is the spontaneity of a fantastic artist. I mean, there are very few. There was Souza, but I did not know him too well. But Souza was also very creative. But Hussein Saab had that mischievousness of somebody who was an 80-year-old but could interact. If you went to him, you would say he's your best friend. That is what my father had in him also. So I love that whole. He was such a great man, always mischievous, always with a twinkling of his eye, painting, color. What a colorist, what a man. I mean, really, what a poet, painter, musician, video. I mean, what movies did he make? Amazing if you see them. So he was India's answer to Picasso for sure.
My God, Picasso is a great, and of course, Hassan, God
And
rest
there are
his
many
soul.
other incidents, but I will talk to them only. I mean, there are incidents when we've gone and he's told us. When he had these designs when he went to Dubai also, and how those his mind, it was the mind, it was the most greatest, one of the fewest greatest minds I know. And the best part, being a humble guy, you
Hmm.
went to him, he'd be like, okay. So I love him. He's really one of my favorites, my family's favorites too.
That's great, honestly. I'm kind of
And he
envious,
was
but
unique. You
have
see,
that
he
experience.
saw what Picasso was doing. He was one of the few Indian artists who exhibited with Pablo Picasso in France, one of the shows. And forget that, he just connected with everywhere he went, he connected. And that's the beauty of the artist.
So he must have had like a lot to tell, not just from his foreign sort of, ventures or his foreign travels, but of course his
Oh,
identity.
yeah. I mean, from Prague to, I mean, to Qatar to London, collections made from Prague to Qatar to Kerala to Calcutta. Which city, which part of India did he not touch? I mean, it was brilliant. You know, inspirations all the time.
I love that. Okay, so now we'll be doing I won't say like a rapid fire round, but I'll be asking you five. I'll be asking you questions, and I will just ask you to like name five things. You
Sure.
don't need to explain, just five. And now we've come to our segment. It's called Name Them. Okay, so Payal, which are five paintings which you think any art lover or an art enthusiast must definitely see?
Okay, so the five paintings worldwide or India?
Any, any five paintings.
Okay. So I definitely think the Statue of David, brilliant in Florence. Uh, Zameen by M.F. Hussain, a must see.
Mhm.
Okay, brilliant. It's in the museum in India. So definitely has to be seen.
Mhm.
Um, I think the Night Watch,
Hop-
um,
Hoppers.
which is by uh, Caravaggio, 100%.
Mhm.
Brilliant. Then there is one large work of Picasso, which I've seen in the museum, and because of my brain fog, I'm forgetting the name, but it's in Spain, in the museum there. Brilliant. The which other work do I like? I like which has stayed in my mind is what I'm trying to say. I like three, and then fourth should be. Oh, there's so many to choose from, but I like Satish Gupta's that large sculpture, which is got the large Buddha, which he has done in the museum in Bombay, and that's something to look at definitely. And one more, I'm just thinking which one, Picasso, and some of the Damien Hirst works. you know
Sure.
they really stay with you, though they're a little grotesque, but they stay with you. And again, one more person who I love, and I think very important artist from India is Souza. Excellent quality work. So something, please go to the museums. Also Raja Ravi Verma, that's one more. Sorry, I've gone about seven, so my apologies. Yeah,
It's fine.
can't choose with babies. It's very difficult to choose with babies, but yeah, some of them. And the
No,
Mona Lisa, that's one to look at.
the right.
That's the one you must go look at in your lifetime.
A lot of climate activists have been throwing soup at it, but the Mona Lisa still looks fine.
The Mona Lisa, you know.
So, Payal, which are five of the mediums that you think artists are not using enough?
They're not using enough.
Yes.
I think artists are not using photography.
Mhm.
I think artists in India are not using AI too much.
Mhm.
That's one.
Mhm.
I think artists are not using ceramics too much.
Mhm.
Um, I think artists are not using bronze as a medium too much, and stainless steel.
Yes. Okay. Which are five of the most underrated artists at present?
India or abroad.
Everywhere. I mean,
Okay. Um, I think here in India, I'd go by that region. I think there are these five young people who are underrated. Um, okay, this is like, oh God. Okay, so five underrated ones in India would be, I think, Sanjay Bhattacharya. He's underrated. I think he's already established, but very underrated. I think there's Satish Gupta, underrated again. Abroad, I think there's Mr. Brainwash, very underrated. Shepard Fairey, very underrated. American artist, very good. I think in France, there is an artist called Christophe Cagnon, who I think is completely underrated. So are there five now?
Yes, they are. Okay.
Thank you.
Which
I
are
think the tribal artists are very underrated.
no.
Please go buy them. Everybody should rush to buy the tribal artists. That's what they should do. Buri Bai, Padma Shri, Padma Vibhushan, Buri Bai, Bawa Devi, Jodaya Baiga, Sadashiv Mashe, Amit Dhumbare. You can all afford it. Each one of the youngsters can afford it. Please go buy.
Okay. Which are five galleries or foundations beside yourself, which you think are have been really great at promoting Indian art, not just in India, but also overseas?
So the five galleries, other than me, I would say would be Vadera Art Gallery, would be Dhumimal Gallery, doing very good under Uday Jain. Then there is Larry Gagosian, who I just love. Fabulous, fabulous gallerist. Hauser and Wirth, again, an amazing gallerist to buy works from. And one more. Should be this gallery, White Cube Gallery in London. Good galleries to see their works. I like the kind of works that they show. Interesting.
Okay, now this may be like a controversial questions, but who do you think are, or what do you think are five of the most overhyped art movements of all times?
Overhyped art movements. Okay, NFTs for
Okay.
sure.
Mhm.
AI,
Mhm.
I think very hyped. Videography, hyped. Um, what would I say? Conceptual art. I think it's really, really overhyped, to be honest. And conceptual art like the banana with the sticker, overhyped. You know, lovely but overhyped. Caught the people in frenzy, but overhyped. Um, um, and what else? I think these are the four types of art. And which other would you say? Watercolor. No, not watercolor. Sorry, don't cut that out, please. I think performance art, some of that, which is nice, but there has to be a story to it. I like performance art, but Marina Abramovich is not overhyped, but a young artist who's just thinking without thinking, saying, I'll become famous, is overhyped.
This is basically influences a lot of them.
Yeah. Oh my God, no, I don't think, I don't know. Don't want to comment on influencers, but I just feel, talking about things which don't have come from basis of where and why are you doing something is overhyped anyways.
Okay. Okay, that concludes the segment. So I'll just do like a little bite out of it. Just be
And
on.
you need to get a little bit of editing done, huh?
Yes.
On the things which I said, cut it out, and all. Watercolor is good, actually. What am I saying?
Okay.
Andre, very funny. Just edit everything and send it to me first.
Okay. Okay. We will.
Who else have you interviewed?
No, it's like, so we've interviewed this one person from Unnati Cultural Village. So this
Lovely.
person, Rohan. So as you said, Nepal. So my first thought went to as to what he was talking about, like the Nepalese artist. So that.
Excellent.
Okay, let me just record the bite now. And that concludes our segment, Name Them. Payal, before, so why was I, oh, sorry, your name is Payal. I get so confused. Sorry. Okay. So, Payal, before we let you go, I have one last question.
Yeah,
What do you
shoot.
think needs to be adjusted, modified, or added to contemporary Indian art scene to make it more inclusive, to make it more prominent, and to take it to even, newer heights?
Delving into their own experiences. Contemporary artists must delve into their own experiences,
Mhm.
not to be too repetitive, because things become very repetitive after a while. That whole, what the older um, artists, what's the difference between the older artists? Actually, that's the more like a relevant question compared to the younger modern contemporary artists. They have stuck and been there, done that every year, whether somebody liked it or not. So to be there and not to get ape somebody who's doing really well, that's what needs to be changed in contemporary modern art, Indian art.
Thank you so much, Payal, and thank you so
Thank
much on behalf of
you.
Abir
Thank you for
Movie
having
coming
me. I'm
in.
very, very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.